Sweet soul, I don't want you to panic, but I do want you to listen closely. Because the air around you today is trembling. Something heavy is trying to shake your peace, and I, Archangel Michael, have been sent here urgently. You were not supposed to know this until the time came, but heaven moved the timeline. It's no longer just a whisper, it's an alarm. Today, the 16th of July, I order you to open this now. A name has been uncovered. The name of someone who has been spiritually shadowing your path. This person has been pretending. Pretending to smile, pretending to care, pretending to wish you well. But under the surface, their heart pulses with envy. And that envy has been feeding on your blessings. You're being watched, not with love, but with silent fury. God says you must know now, because this is about to affect your future if you delay. What if I told you this person already tried once? You thought it was just a coincidence when that deal got blocked, or when your name didn't make the final list, or when something strange happened in your house the other day. No, it wasn't random. There's been a force hidden behind it, dressed in friendly words, wrapped in closeness. God has been tracking it all. Nothing has gone unseen. And now, the most important moment arrives. The name has risen. The identity is no longer in the dark. And heaven is standing still, waiting for your response. Because once you acknowledge this, you shift the entire vibration of your life forward. That's why you're being pulled to this message, not by accident, not by algorithm, but by divine order. Before I say more, listen, if your soul is feeling even a whisper of what I'm saying, it's not your imagination. It's your inner spirit being touched by what's already around you. You may have felt something was off. You may have sensed eyes that didn't align with their words. The truth is, God has been watching the very person you trust with secrets. There's a difference between closeness and closeness with bad intentions. That line has been crossed, and you're about to see how. Don't ignore this. Because heaven's army is not just whispering this in your ear, they are crying out to you. It's urgent. Every second you delay gives the wrong person more space. Just for a moment, pause here. If you've been feeling drained, exhausted even after sleeping, confused without knowing why, or like something is blocking your progress, don't blame yourself. Archangel Michael wants you to know, you're under spiritual attack, and you didn't even know it. You've been wrapped in their silent harm for months now. And now their mask is slipping. Do not think for a second that this is small. This is massive. This is the reason some things haven't moved. And now, this is the key to your breakthrough. If you feel chills reading this, or tears you can't explain, that's not just emotion. That's spiritual confirmation. And if you're ready to keep receiving messages directly when they're urgent like this, don't miss your chance to subscribe to the Divine Letter now. Only the ones who are chosen see the messages in real time. You'll never be spiritually unprepared again. Now listen. Heaven didn't plan to expose this name until later in the year. But something changed. This person took one step too far. They opened a conversation that wasn't meant to happen. They talked about you to someone they thought wouldn't tell. But the truth always returns to the chosen one. God made sure it reached the ears of the righteous. A spiritual friend overheard and sent a silent prayer to the heavens. And that's when the bells rang in the divine realm. Archangel Gabriel sounded a warning. Archangel Michael descended to you. And the message became urgent. The truth is coming to your door, and it cannot wait until tomorrow. You may feel like you don't know who to trust anymore. That's the side effect of spiritual betrayal. But you're not alone. Archangel Michael is spiritually placing a shield over you right now. That's why your heart feels pulled to keep reading. There's a thread between your soul and this message. And I must reveal this person who wants to harm you is not far. They are not a stranger. And that is why it hurts so deeply. You gave them access. You allowed them into your atmosphere. They used your vulnerability as a weapon. But they made one mistake: they underestimated who's protecting you. They forgot that you are not alone. You may be wondering, who exactly is it? And while I cannot write the name publicly here in letters, the Spirit will speak it to you as soon as you're ready. For some of you, the name already whispered itself in your mind while reading. That was not imagination. That was God revealing through vibration. For others, it will come through a dream tonight, or during your quiet moment before sleep. But mark this down: once you hear the name, you'll feel a heavy weight leave your chest. That's how you'll know it's the one. Your body will confirm what your soul already knew. Can you remember the time someone asked you strange questions about your future or your money recently? Maybe they disguised it as curiosity, but something about it didn't sit right. That was their way of gathering information. God says you were being studied like a subject. Watched for what you're building. They didn't clap for you, they calculated around you. That's why heaven is no longer silent. God says, enough. You will no longer be played with like a piece on someone else's board. Keep listening. This same person might try again, soon. They may act like nothing happened. They'll call or message or visit, pretending everything is normal. But don't be fooled. They are testing if you're still unaware. The divine realm is begging you, trust your gut. Trust your spiritual alarms. You've been chosen for a higher path. You don't owe anyone blind loyalty, especially those who secretly wish your fall. Not everyone who smiles is a blessing. Some are only attached to your light until they can use it for their benefit. That time is over now. Can you remember the time someone asked you strange questions about your future or your money recently? Maybe they disguised it as curiosity, but something about it didn't sit right. That was their way of gathering information. God says you were being studied like a subject. Watched for what you're building. They didn't clap for you, they calculated around you. That's why heaven is no longer silent. God says, enough. You will no longer be played with like a piece on someone else's board. Keep listening. This same person might try again, soon. They may act like nothing happened. They'll call or message or visit, pretending everything is normal. But don't be fooled. They are testing if you're still unaware. The divine realm is begging you, trust your gut. Trust your spiritual alarms. You've been chosen for a higher path. You don't owe anyone blind loyalty, especially those who secretly wish your fall. Not everyone who smiles is a blessing. Some are only attached to your light until they can use it for their benefit. That time is over now. And what if I told you that your sudden rise is closer than you imagined, but it cannot fully land until this energy is removed? That's right. The blessing is already descending, like a parcel flying from the skies. But it pauses every time it senses danger around you. That's why this identity exposure is not gossip. It's not drama. It's divine surgery. This person must be spiritually removed from your sacred space, or else the next door won't open. That's the cost of delay. And heaven will not delay your destiny any longer. If you've ever said, I don't know why, but I just feel like I need to distance myself from them, then this is your confirmation. Your spirit knew before your logic could understand. Because your spirit has been talking to Archangel Michael at night, your dreams, your nudges, your instincts, they were never random. And now, those whispers are turning into commands. You must act. There is no more room for silence. Then come closer. Because what I'm about to tell you next will shift your understanding completely. This person didn't just plan to block you, they spoke your name with a wicked intention. They spoke it not in celebration, but in comparison. They said things behind closed doors to dim your light, to plant seeds of doubt about you. And they thought you would never find out. But heaven records every word, every breath, every motive. The angels stood in the room spiritually as your name was misused. God didn't just hear it, he felt it. And he marked the moment as a spiritual violation. That's why the revelation has arrived today. Because your name is too anointed to be played with. You've got to understand how rare your purpose is. You were born with a divine blueprint that threatens those who live in envy. It's not just jealousy, it's spiritual discomfort. Your glow makes their shadows louder. Your healing triggers their guilt. And instead of growing themselves, they'd rather bring you down. But they can't. Not anymore. Because God has drawn the line. Heaven is shifting the soil beneath your feet. The people who pretended are about to be repositioned. The veil is lifting. And their actions are being revealed, one layer at a time. Let me tell you a truth you may not have realized, the enemy never attacks the unchosen. The enemy doesn't bother with people who have no destiny. If you've been under spiritual pressure lately, it's because your crown is visible in the spirit realm. You wear light even when you don't know it. That's why this person couldn't help themselves, they tried to dim what they didn't understand. But they didn't realize that your light isn't from man. It's from the Most High. And no scheme, no sabotage, no whisper in the dark can unwrite what God has written in His book for you. There's something else. You may have noticed strange delays lately, calls not returned, doors half opened, unexpected losses. These weren't just bad luck. These were spiritual blocks, activated by the jealousy and false intentions of the one now being exposed. You were being spiritually tangled every time you shared your plans with them. That's why heaven is urging you, seal your future. Zip your divine silence. Because not every ear deserves to hear your prophecy before it comes to pass. I know it's painful. Especially when the name that arises isn't someone you barely know. It's someone who's been around, maybe even part of your daily atmosphere. That's what makes spiritual betrayal so piercing, it doesn't come from enemies, it comes from access. But don't harden your heart. Don't let this moment make you bitter. Let it make you better. Because God is not just revealing them to hurt you. He's revealing them to free you. This is a rescue operation in progress. The truth is the sword heaven is using to cut this tie for good. Archangel Michael wants you to hold this truth in your spirit today, your future is too divine to stay entangled with disguised harm. It doesn't matter how long they've been in your life, or how deep your bond once felt. If God says their name is now linked to spiritual danger, it must be handled like divine surgery. With care, with courage, and with surrender. You are not being asked to fight alone. The army of light is already surrounding you. All you need to do is agree with the truth. Heaven will handle the rest. Tonight, when the house is quiet and your mind is still, the identity will visit you. You'll hear the name, or see their face, or recall the moment when everything shifted. It will come with a wave of clarity and a sudden silence in your chest. That's when you'll know, heaven just exposed it. Don't run from it. Don't question yourself. Don't deny the divine download. It's your freedom trying to reach you. Receive it. Write it down. And then pray, God, I accept the truth. I surrender to your protection. Let no soul remain in my space that you did not send. And as soon as you do, you'll notice something wild. Your clarity will return. Your heaviness will lift. Your intuition will feel sharper. And unexpectedly, one of the things that's been stuck, money, love, peace, opportunity, will start moving again. That's the confirmation. That was the weight that was slowing you. The moment they are spiritually cut off, the blessing pipeline is reopened. It's that quick. That powerful. That divinely designed. Tonight, when the house is quiet and your mind is still, the identity will visit you. You'll hear the name, or see their face, or recall the moment when everything shifted. It will come with a wave of clarity and a sudden silence in your chest. That's when you'll know, heaven just exposed it. Don't run from it. Don't question yourself. Don't deny the divine download. It's your freedom trying to reach you. Receive it. Write it down. And then pray, God, I accept the truth. I surrender to your protection. Let no soul remain in my space that you did not send. And as soon as you do, you'll notice something wild. Your clarity will return. Your heaviness will lift. Your intuition will feel sharper. And unexpectedly, one of the things that's been stuck, money, love, peace, opportunity, will start moving again. That's the confirmation. That was the weight that was slowing you. The moment they are spiritually cut off, the blessing pipeline is reopened. It's that quick. That powerful. That divinely designed. Let's not pretend the enemy won't try again. But here's what's changed, you are not unaware anymore. You are spiritually awake. And when a chosen one becomes spiritually aware, the darkness trembles. Because now you're dangerous, to evil. You're no longer their puppet. You're heaven's warrior. And Archangel Michael walks before you with a flaming sword. Do you understand what just happened? A divine court was held in heaven. Your name was called. The evidence was presented. And the judgment was passed. Reveal the one who harms them, God said. Let my child know. They've cried enough. Now they must rise. You were chosen to read this not by luck, not by timing, but by divine strategy. The heavens rerouted energy to get you here. Because the time is now. The exposure must begin. And your destiny must accelerate. I want you to stay alert over the next 3 days. In that window, you'll see something shocking. A conversation will surface. A truth will be revealed. A person will slip up. It may be a social media post, a passing word, an unexpected message, or even someone else confirming what you've just spiritually felt. That will be the final piece. The confirmation. The divine receipt. Don't be surprised. Just say thank you, God. Thank you for not letting me be blindsided again. And you're not just being saved from harm. You're being prepared for restoration. Because what was delayed, lost, or stolen due to this spiritual connection will be returned. Not just spiritually, but financially, emotionally, physically. God will restore what their energy blocked. Watch how quickly things begin to realign. Not just by luck, but because heaven has cleared the air around you. Even now, the angels are rearranging paths, pushing the right people closer, and pulling the wrong ones out. Don't be alarmed if certain people become distant. Let them. That's heaven doing surgery. Don't chase what God is removing. What's being taken is not rejection, it's protection. If you feel fire in your chest, tears in your eyes, or your hands shaking, know this: that's your spirit agreeing with heaven. That's how you know this message is for you. You've reached the part of the timeline where divine justice is being served. The one who tried to harm you is now spiritually exposed. What comes next is restoration, elevation, and divine recompense. Good. Then hold my hand just a little longer. Because this is where the real turning point begins. You've already felt the storm pass through your spirit. You've already seen the signs you tried to brush off. And now that the truth has cracked through the walls of confusion, you're going to see what happens when heaven restores power to the one it loves. You didn't deserve to be whispered about in the dark. You didn't deserve to be copied, sabotaged, misrepresented. But you are not broken, you are chosen. And what happens next will make that undeniable. Here is what Archangel Michael is showing me now: there's something that was promised to you in prayer. You cried for it. You asked for it. Maybe even fasted for it. And for so long, it didn't come. You felt maybe God forgot. But He didn't. That prayer was intercepted by the envy of someone near you. Their energy, even if they didn't speak it aloud, became a block. That's how powerful spiritual interference can be. But now, since the identity is out, those blessings are no longer stuck. God is moving again. The prayer is being released. And this time, nothing is going to stop it. In fact, over the next 7 days, you're going to notice things in your home shifting. Items you haven't touched in months will suddenly fall or move. You'll find feathers or symbols or numbers showing up over and over again. These are not coincidences. These are signs that spiritual forces are sweeping through your space. Archangel Michael's sword is cutting invisible cords. And God's light is flooding into the places that were once shadowed by deception. You may feel emotional for no reason. You may feel bursts of joy out of nowhere. That's spiritual detox. That's your soul tasting freedom again. But you must do your part. The revelation wasn't sent for entertainment, it was sent for alignment. That means you must obey what heaven has told you. Do not go back to what God just exposed. Do not second-guess what your soul is screaming to accept. Sometimes the greatest test is not hearing the truth, it's living by it. And if you can stay obedient, if you can honor the truth even when it hurts, you will walk directly into a new season. God is not just removing someone, He is rebuilding your foundation. You see, the person who wished harm on you isn't the only part of the story. They were the blockage. But the real story is you. You're the one God's eyes have never left. You're the one that angels stand beside when you cry silently in the shower, when you whisper, "Why do they treat me this way?" You're the one who carries light even when you feel tired. And that's why heaven moves mountains to protect you, even when you don't realize it. You're a soul of prophecy, of purpose, of protection. And now, it's time you live like it. But you must do your part. The revelation wasn't sent for entertainment, it was sent for alignment. That means you must obey what heaven has told you. Do not go back to what God just exposed. Do not second-guess what your soul is screaming to accept. Sometimes the greatest test is not hearing the truth, it's living by it. And if you can stay obedient, if you can honor the truth even when it hurts, you will walk directly into a new season. God is not just removing someone, He is rebuilding your foundation. You see, the person who wished harm on you isn't the only part of the story. They were the blockage. But the real story is you. You're the one God's eyes have never left. You're the one that angels stand beside when you cry silently in the shower, when you whisper, "Why do they treat me this way?" You're the one who carries light even when you feel tired. And that's why heaven moves mountains to protect you, even when you don't realize it. You're a soul of prophecy, of purpose, of protection. And now, it's time you live like it. Something bigger is coming for you. And this message was the unlocking key. Now that the blockage is revealed, the new chapter begins. Do you feel that stirring in your chest? That's not anxiety, that's destiny. Your soul has been waiting for this moment. God is about to surprise you. A conversation is coming that will shift your course. A person is arriving who will speak life into your future. And a door that was shut for months, maybe even years, is about to swing open. All of this begins with your obedience to what was revealed today. Let's talk about dreams for a moment. You may notice that tonight or over the next few nights, your dreams become intense, symbolic, even prophetic. That's because your spiritual radar is now online. The truth has activated a deeper frequency in you. Pay attention to what you see. Write it down. Don't dismiss anything. Sometimes God hides clarity in symbols. Sometimes the identity you weren't ready to accept by day shows up in your dreams by night. And when you see their face again, do not run. Ask heaven for confirmation. It will come quickly, either through a repeating sign, a conversation, or a direct word from someone unaware of what you're going through. This is where everything accelerates. What you're reading is no longer just a message, it's a portal. You've entered a space of divine guidance. And things that once took months will now take days. You're stepping into rapid restoration. But speed requires spiritual caution. You must protect what God is giving you next. No oversharing. No trying to explain your decisions to those who don't carry the same spiritual maturity. You owe no one your spiritual journey's blueprint. Some people are meant to see the blessing after it's built, not during the construction. There's something else you need to know. The person who tried to harm you is also about to go through a spiritual consequence. Not because you wished them harm, but because God is just. What they spoke behind your back will now echo in their own space. The negativity they threw toward you will boomerang. It's spiritual law. But don't celebrate their fall. That's not your role. Your role is to rise, to rebuild, to rejoice quietly in the God who defended you when you didn't even know you needed defending. If you're wondering what to do next, here's your divine instruction. Speak aloud your agreement with heaven. Say, God, I receive your revelation. I accept the truth. I let go of anyone you did not send. And I open my heart for the blessings you've been waiting to give me. When you say this with sincerity, the shift will begin. And don't be surprised if something strange happens in the hours that follow, a person backing away, a message not coming, or a sudden opening of opportunity. That's the spiritual aftermath of obedience. Heaven always reacts to agreement. Now walk tall. Because you are no longer the unaware one. You are the spiritually awakened. You are the guarded one. You are the one who walks with divine forces beside you. And no name spoken in darkness can stop the name that God wrote in His book for you. You are safe now. You are covered. You are free. The moment you accepted the truth, the chains broke. The moment you chose obedience, the blessings were released. And the moment you chose to believe this message wasn't random, the angels rejoiced. Now go live like someone who is protected by heaven. Because you are. Forever. And now, sweet soul, listen even more closely, because from this point forward, the steps you take will be sacred. You're no longer walking the same path. You've stepped out of the fog of illusion and into the light of revelation. That changes everything. The spiritual atmosphere around you is no longer cluttered with confusion, it's clear. And because of that, heaven can now send what it's been holding back. What you thought was a delay was actually divine timing. What felt like abandonment was actually protection. God was preserving you until you could see the truth for yourself. And now you have. Archangel Michael has drawn a circle of fire around your energy. No lie, no gossip, no backhanded scheme can enter anymore. But remember, once you're spiritually protected, your decisions must also protect your peace. That means you can no longer entertain certain conversations, certain energies, certain people. Even if they come with apologies or tears or explanations. You are no longer required to babysit people who tried to spiritually harm you. Forgiveness does not mean re-entry. God says, forgive them, bless them, but do not bring them back to the place they tried to ruin. You've got to understand this. The next person God is sending into your life cannot arrive until your circle is purified. The new connection, the right opportunity, the divine appointment that's approaching, it requires a clean spiritual space. That's why exposure came before elevation. That's why the identity had to be revealed before the reward. Because if you had received the blessing while still surrounded by betrayal, it would have been tainted. But now? Now the soil is ready. Now the path is clear. Now the blessing can fall like rain, without delay.
Hi, if you are listening to this right now, maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe your soul brought you here because you needed to hear something real, something honest, something felt. I'm not perfect. I really had good days and really hard ones too. But what I do to now is when we go through pain, heartbreak, or confusion, we don't just suffer, we grow. We learn who we are, we learn who's for us and who's not. And if you are still trying, still hoping, still breathing, that means you are strong. Even if you don't feel like it, don't know your exact story, but I do know this. You matter. Your soul is beautiful, and something better is coming. Even if you can't see it yet, stay with me. We are going to go through this together.
Archangel Michael has drawn a circle of fire around your energy. No lie, no gossip, no backhanded scheme can enter anymore. But remember, once you're spiritually protected, your decisions must also protect your peace. That means you can no longer entertain certain conversations, certain energies, certain people. Even if they come with apologies or tears or explanations. You are no longer required to babysit people who tried to spiritually harm you. Forgiveness does not mean re-entry. God says, forgive them, bless them, but do not bring them back to the place they tried to ruin. You've got to understand this: the next person God is sending into your life cannot arrive until your circle is purified. The new connection, the right opportunity, the divine appointment that's approaching, it requires a clean spiritual space. That's why exposure came before elevation. That's why the identity had to be revealed before the reward. Because if you had received the blessing while still surrounded by betrayal, it would have been tainted. But now? Now the soil is ready. Now the path is clear. Now the blessing can fall like rain, without delay. Let's go even deeper, because your future is too precious for shallow words. The person who tried to harm you underestimated the divine covering over your name. They forgot that when someone is chosen, everything connected to them is also marked. Their home, their mind, their dreams, all carry divine encryption. That's why things they tried to plant in your life never fully bloomed. That's why the plan didn't fully work. Because even in your pain, angels were blocking unseen attacks. You have no idea how many times you were supposed to fall, but didn't. That's not luck. That's favor. And now something greater is stirring. The exposure of this person is just the first domino. As it falls, you'll notice other hidden truths begin to reveal themselves. People you once questioned will start showing their true hearts. Old messages may resurface. Dreams you forgot will return with new meaning. You'll begin to piece together what really happened. And when you do, don't feel shame. Feel empowered. Because understanding is the final key to closure. And with that closure, you will step into a confidence that no one can ever take from you again. I must tell you this: there is a gift being released to you in the spirit right now. It's the gift of discernment. From now on, your intuition will speak louder. Your spirit will feel things faster. You'll know when someone is lying, even if their words are sweet. You'll feel it in your chest, in your skin, in your dreams. This is heaven's way of never letting you be blindsided again. God is not only healing you, He's sharpening you. Because the next version of your life requires divine sensitivity. You'll be operating at a level most people won't understand. But that's okay. You were never meant to fit in, you were meant to be set apart. Take this seriously: your environment matters more than ever. Look around your space. Clean it physically and spiritually. Light a candle. Play worship. Pray with your heart open. Declare aloud, "No hidden darkness will survive in my home." When you do, you'll feel something break. That's not your imagination. That's the last spiritual tie snapping. That's the sound of your atmosphere aligning with the promise. And from that moment forward, anything trying to return to sabotage you will be stopped at the door, spiritually and physically. Don't forget what you've just experienced. Don't move too fast. Let this message settle. Let the truth echo through your soul until every last part of you believes it. Because once the truth becomes part of you, deception can never trick you again. That's the beauty of divine revelation. It doesn't just tell you what's happening, it upgrades your spiritual DNA. You are no longer the same person you were before this message. You are wiser now. Sharper now. Spiritually alert now. And that, my beloved, is power. So walk differently. Speak differently. Move differently. You've been given insight that some people pray for years to receive. And it came to you not because you begged, but because God chose you to know. Let that settle. Let that humble you. Let that empower you. You are trusted by heaven. And that is a title far more precious than anything the world could give. Finally, know this. The person who wanted to harm you will know, without a doubt, that their energy didn't work. They'll see you rising. They'll hear of your success. They'll watch as you glow with a peace that cannot be shaken. And in that moment, they will understand that what they tried to curse, God has chosen to bless. And their words, their actions, their schemes, none of it mattered. Because divine protection is undefeated. You are free now. Free to love with discernment. Free to trust yourself. Free to grow without hidden sabotage. Free to receive the blessings that have been waiting for this moment. Go now. Rest in this truth. Heaven is not silent about your life. Heaven is loud today, and the message is clear. You were protected. You were chosen. You were warned. You were loved enough for the truth to be revealed. And now, nothing can stop what's coming for you. It begins now. Watch what happens next. And as the light of this message fully anchors into your soul, take a deep breath, not just from your lungs, but from the part of your spirit that has been silently holding its breath for far too long. You've waited. You've endured. You've walked through confusion with a smile. You've trusted when things didn't make sense. But now? Now you're stepping into understanding. You're no longer walking blindfolded through a spiritual battlefield. You are awake. You are aware. And that changes everything. Let me show you a vision that heaven is releasing now. In the spirit realm, there was a veil stretched over your path. It was soft but heavy, like spiritual fog that made everything ahead look unclear. You could feel something beyond it, a pull, a promise, a potential. But every time you reached for it, something pulled you back. That veil was not put there by God. It was sewn together by words, negative words, jealous energy, and intentional spiritual blockages sent by the very person God has now exposed. And today, the veil has been torn. The pathway is open. The light is flooding in. You were protected. You were chosen. You were warned. You were loved enough for the truth to be revealed. And now, nothing can stop what's coming for you. It begins now. Watch what happens next. And as the light of this message fully anchors into your soul, take a deep breath, not just from your lungs, but from the part of your spirit that has been silently holding its breath for far too long. You've waited. You've endured. You've walked through confusion with a smile. You've trusted when things didn't make sense. But now? Now you're stepping into understanding. You're no longer walking blindfolded through a spiritual battlefield. You are awake. You are aware. And that changes everything. Let me show you a vision that heaven is releasing now. In the spirit realm, there was a veil stretched over your path. It was soft but heavy, like spiritual fog that made everything ahead look unclear. You could feel something beyond it, a pull, a promise, a potential. But every time you reached for it, something pulled you back. That veil was not put there by God. It was sewn together by words, negative words, jealous energy, and intentional spiritual blockages sent by the very person God has now exposed. And today, the veil has been torn. The pathway is open. The light is flooding in. You will feel this shift in small ways first. People who once drained your energy will feel heavier to be around. Their conversations won't interest you. You'll feel your spirit pulling away. That's heaven tuning your frequency. You've upgraded, and not everyone can come with you. This may feel lonely at first, but it won't last. Because as old energies leave, new ones arrive. People who speak with purity, who pray without agenda, who celebrate you without competition, they're coming. And when they do, you'll recognize them not by how loud they are, but by how peaceful your spirit feels around them. Archangel Michael says your name is being whispered in high places. This means someone is about to mention you where it matters. A conversation will be had, and your name will be brought up in honor, not in harm. This time, the mentioning of your name will open a door, not shut one. But here's the key: don't try to force it. Let heaven orchestrate it. What's coming is not man-made. It's divinely timed. And when it happens, you'll know it was God. The peace will be undeniable. Do not underestimate what you've survived. What was meant to break you actually built your discernment. What was sent to silence you actually strengthened your voice. And what was supposed to delay you only redirected you to a better lane. You are no longer behind. You are aligned. And every second from this moment forward is working in your favor. You don't have to chase anymore. What is meant for you is now chasing you. And here's something sacred you must remember: do not entertain guilt for removing what God exposed. Spiritual guilt is a trick of the enemy. They'll try to make you feel like you're being mean or not forgiving. But God says, you can love them and still leave them behind. Spiritual safety is not selfish. It's sacred. You are not being cold, you are being covered. When heaven exposes, the only correct response is obedience. That is what keeps your future safe. There is still more. You're not just being freed from harm, you're being equipped for leadership. Yes, leadership. You're going to find that others begin coming to you with their own spiritual questions, their own pain, their own confusion. They'll be drawn to your energy, because something about you feels safe now. That's the anointing being activated. Don't panic. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be honest, be open, and speak from what you've learned through your own journey. That's where the healing begins, for them and for you. Now let's speak a final truth into the atmosphere: you are not in danger. You are in transition. And transitions always feel messy in the middle. But don't mistake the shaking for breaking. It's just the sound of spiritual chains falling off. And when the dust settles, you'll realize, you're standing taller, seeing clearer, and walking lighter. That's how you'll know the shift wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual. Take this moment and breathe in the reality of your new timeline. Yes, timeline. Because every time God exposes something, He also edits your future. You are no longer heading toward what was set by sabotage. You are now stepping into what was written before the foundations of the earth. That version of your life, the one that was always meant for you, is calling now. And for the first time in a long time, there's nothing standing in the way. This is your moment. And you didn't miss it. You didn't delay it. You didn't lose it. You simply weren't ready, until now. And now? You are more than ready. Your eyes are open. Your heart is guarded. Your energy is protected. Your soul is aligned. Your angels are active. Your name is clean. And your future? It's already in motion. Now go live in it, with confidence, with joy, and with a quiet knowing that heaven speaks your name with love. And that love, sweet soul, will never let you down. Not today. Not ever. The exposure is complete. The protection is sealed. And the promise is on its way.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your heart, your time, your attention. I know this words moves fast and something it gets so loud that we forget to hear our own voice. So if you are still here listening, I want you to know something very real. You are not alone, even if it feels like no one truly sees you, heaven sees you. Even when no one understands your silence, God understands your soul. Life is not always easy, and sometimes we carry things we don't speak about. But still, here you are, strong breathing, surviving, and searching for light. The light is not somewhere far away, it's in you. The world may not always clap for you. People may leave, plants may fall, but please don't give up on your story because the page you're on today is not where your story ends. In fact, something beautiful may beginning right after this. So from my heart to yours, I am sending love, peace, and strength your way. Not just today, but every single time you need it. And if no one told you this today, you are special. You matter. You matter, and you're never forgotten in the eyes of God. Stay connected with me, not just with me, your ears, but with your soul. I will be right here whenever your heart needs a soft place to land. Until next time, take care of your spirit, take care of your light, and keep walking with faith because something better is already on this way too.